The Rebbe started off the Nesius with an amazing proclamation that our generation is the Dor HaShvi, it's Kol HaShvi and Chabibin, and his job as being the Rebbe, the seventh Rebbe in Chabad, is to bring the Shechina B'Tachtenim. And the Rebbe ended the 40 year of Nesius by saying that Mashiach is ready to come. Kol HaKitzim, Klal Yisrael already did Tshuva, Shen Geputz in the Kneplech, everything is done. We don't have to do anything to bring Mashiach. The Avodah now is to prepare for Mashiach. Now we have to understand these statements, first of all. The Rebbe's Nesius was a Nesius where he encouraged his Hasidim to go out with Mesiras Nefesh and to bring Yidden to do mitzvahs. Now what exactly does that have to do with Tshuva? Most Yidden who do mitzvahs don't do Tshuva. They put on tefillin, they light Shabbos candles, they eat matzah. What does that have to do with Tshuva? And what does it ever mean after 40 years that Klal Yisrael already did Tshuva? I mean, before the 40 years, also Yidden did Tshuva. There were tens, hundreds of thousands of Fruma Yidden before when the Rebbe started his Nesius, and there was many Balei Tshuva, thousands more 40 years later, but still millions of Jews were still not Frum. Millions of Jews were not doing mitzvahs. So what exactly was the major shini of Dira B'Tachtenim? This was an incredible thing. Shechina B'Tachtenim, B'Dugas Moshe Rabbeinu brought the Torah B'Tachtenim. The Rebbe is comparing his Nesius to the Nesius of Moshe Rabbeinu, which is an incredible thing to bring Shechina B'Tachtenim. The Torah was already B'Tachtenim. Yidden were Mekayim Torah mitzvahs for thousands of years already. Before the Rebbe's Nesius, during the Rebbe's Nesius, so there were more Yidden, less Yidden. At the end of the Nesius, still the majority of Klal Yisrael Mekayim mitzvahs. What exactly did the Rebbe said that he's going to accomplish? And what did the Rebbe mean that he said it was already accomplished? To understand this, the Rebbe quoted many times a Zohar, a famous Zohar in Parshas Achri Meis, that there are three nuts. There's Yisrael v'Yiraisa v'Kudsha B'Richu. There's three nuts, Tzlas Ksharim, Miskashin Davar, three connections. So the Rebbe asked that there are really two connections, because Klal Yisrael is connected to Torah. Torah is one with the Eibush, the Hulu Chachmas HaYechod, like the Alter Rebbe is Meirich in Tanya Perikei, that this is Yichud Nifla. And if the Torah is one with the Eibishter, and Klal Yisrael is one with Torah, so that's two connections. What's the third? So Chassidus explains that the third connection is Klal Yisrael is connected be'etzem to the Eibishter, even not through Torah. L'mayla mi Torah. That's the koyach of tshuva, that even if a Yid is not Mekayim Torah mitzvahs, through tshuva he can connect directly to the Eibishter. So I'm suggesting that what the Rebbe meant Dira B'Tachtenim is something very, very fascinating. The Dira B'Tachtenim of Moshe Rabbeinu was that the Eibishter gave the Torah to Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu brought it to Ba'il Mazeh Tachten, so we could learn Torah and become one with the Eibishter, do mitzvahs and become one with the Eibishter's Ratzon through doing mitzvahs. And the Shechina is B'Tachtenim, because the Shechina is here lemata, in our minds, through our bodies, so it's here in Ba'il Mazeh Tachten. So that's the accomplishment of Moshe Rabbeinu. The Rebbe's job was to accomplish the deeper level of Dira B'Tachtenim, the main level of Dira B'Tachtenim, that our connection to Hashem is be'etzem, it does not even through Torah, because that's not a direct connection. The purpose of the Gula is to show that we're one with the Eibishter, and it doesn't even have to be through Torah, it's be'etzem. So how did the Rebbe accomplish that? The Rebbe accomplished that by being Megala in every single Jew, even a Yid that's not connected to Torah mitzvahs, even a Yid that's not from, and after you put him on tefillin, he's still not from, and he's not really interested in being from, and he never learned Torah. So his connection to the Eibishter, when you go over to a Yid and you ask him to put on tefillin, or to eat matzah, or to light Shabbos candles, and they agree to do it, this is an incredible gilui. This is not a simple thing, doing mitzvah, you get a Yid to do a mitzvah. This is something extremely profound. Because the reason why this Yid wants to do tshuva, wants to put on tefillin, you tell him, you're a Yid, you should put on tefillin, you're not explaining him anything. You're not proving him that the Torah is true and the Eibishter is true, and you're not really inspiring him. You're just telling him, Vista Yid, let's put on tefillin. The Eibishter wants you to put on tefillin. And he says, sure, no problem. Why is he saying sure, no problem? Because he has a chelik elikami mal mamish. And the Alter Rebbe, there was the first, he was Megala this inyan of chelik elikami mal mamish, but it wasn't here, Ba'il Mazeh Tachten, the Iker Gilui, that you see it real, B'poil mamish, that you could go to a Yid and say that you're a Yid, put on tefillin, and he says, yes, that wasn't even Shaykh B'Zman of the Alter Rebbe. This is an incredible chidush that the Rebbe brought this concept down from the Rakia, from all the Rabbeim prepared the way, but the Rebbe brought it down. The main thing, like the Rebbe says, just like Moshe Rabbeinu, the others did great things, but the main thing was bringing the Torah from the Rakia to Aretz, to bring it B'Tachtenim. So the main kiyum of this concept of Dira B'Tachtenim, to bring the Eibishter down B'Tachtenim, in the sense that it's Niskala here in Olam Hazeh Tachtenim, that a Yid who's walking in Manhattan, has no shaykhs to Torah, no shaykhs to mitzvahs. He doesn't even know that he believes in Hashem, and he claims he doesn't believe in Torah mitzvahs. And you go over to him out of the blue and you say, Rabbi Yid, put on tefillin. He says, sure, why not? That's an incredible gili of Dir B'Tachtenim, because he's saying yes, because the Eibishter, because he's a chelik elikami mal mamish, and it's begoli. So that's an incredible accomplishment of our Deir that the Rebbe said we meant to accomplish. That was the Dir B'Tachtenim that the Rebbe said that he's going to accomplish in the beginning of his Nesiyas. And that's what the Rebbe said at the end of his Nesiyas. 40 times the Rebbe said in Tafshin and Aleph and Nun Beis that it's a readiness guy in Klal Yisrael to tshuva. What did he mean? He didn't mean tshuva that Klal Yisrael, that Gans Klal Yisrael is being shemed Torah mitzvahs, because the majority of Klal Yisrael are not Torah mitzvahs. But Seiv Kol Seiv, after these 40 years, millions of Jews acknowledge this fact that when a shliach or a bacher goes on Merkah Shlichus and he says, Rabbi Yid, you want to put on tefillin? And the guy says yes. So where is the niskal? You don't have to go to every single Yid. The fact that millions of Jews did this, that means basically any Jew will do this. We already proved and we already brought down Begilui that a Yid is so close to the Eibishter that even if he never learned Torah and thinks he has no shaykhs to Torah and says he doesn't believe in the Eibishter even, he's still so connected to Hashem that in a second he's willing to do a mitzvah. And it's very, very interesting because the Alter Rebbe started the Chassidus Chabad. He was the first of the 7. He started Chassidus Chabad in Tov Kuf Lamed Beis, 1772. Exactly 179 years later, the Rebbe took on the Nesiyas in Tafshin Yud Aleph. 179 is half 358, which is half of Mashiach. That means the Rabbeim from the Alter Rebbe till the Frierdiker Rebbe did half the job. They prepared the way that this concept of Chelik Elikam Mamish was brought down closer and closer to Eilam Hazeh Tachtin. But the second half of the job, the main half of the job, to bring it from the conceptual world of the Rabbeim, from Teres Chassidus, and to bring it a Poil Mamish to the streets of Manhattan and the streets of Amsterdam, the Rebbe did that by showing through his shluchim that every single Yid is so connected to the Eibishter that even if he has no shaykhs to Torah mitzvahs, he's still in a second willing to do the mitzvahs of the Eibishter. This is an incredible thing. And another incredible thing to point out is that with the Eibishter, when the very year that the Alter Rebbe conceived of the Teres Chassidus Chabad, which would be which would culminate in the Rebbe, the Eibishter was already preparing the ground for the Rebbe to be Mekayim his shlichus in Chatzi Kadar HaTachtin, because in 772 is when the American Revolution began. So now that the Rebbe was Mediyah to us, at the end of the 40 years, the Shleimus of Nesiyas is 40 years. Moshe Rabbeinu, David HaMelech, Shleimer, Rebbe Kiva, Yechon Ben Zakkai, all 40 years. That's the Shleimus of Malchus and Nesiyas. The Rebbe was Megalos, it's all done. It's an incredible thing. People are saying a Mashiach is not here, Mashiach is not here. The Rebbe was Megalos, something incredible. That basically, it's a done deal. Nothing has to be done to bring Mashiach. There's a process. Things happen after the world, is Muhammad Skegig Mogid, whatever happens to happen is nothing here. But right now, Mashiach, every Klal Yisrael already finished. The Avodah of Golus is finished, done, completed. We did our mission. The culmination was done through the Rebbe and his Shluchim and his Chassidim, and it's already done. And now we only have moments left to prepare for Mashiach Tzidkenu, B'simcha v'tov levov, realize that mission was accomplished, and that's all we have to do now is to prepare. There's no more puts in the kneplach. It's like when someone goes through the process of getting married, it's a whole process. You go out on dates, and then finally you find the right one, and then you get engaged, then you prepare for the wedding. And it's a lot of times it's very frustrating, and there's a lot of anxiety and disappointment and stuff like that. But when you mamish by the wedding, it's a whole different point. You mamish by the wedding, you dress for the wedding, and you have to just walk down to the chuppah. You still have to do something. We still have to walk. You have to walk from the chassan and the kala have to walk, and you have to sing the Alter Rebbe's niggin. But it's a completely different matzav. It's not like you're going out. No, it's not like you don't know who you're going to marry. It's not like you're worried and your anxiety. Will I find the shidduch or not? It's done. You have the shidduch. It's all done. The chassan, the band, everything is here. You just got to walk towards the chuppah. It might take some time to get there. It takes a few minutes. The Alter Rebbe song, it could take a half hour, so it takes years. But we're in a completely different matzav right now. And when the Eibishter should give us the seichel, that we should be able to use these final moments of Golitz to prepare for B'yis B'shir Seinu b'simcha u'v'tuv levov.